much simpler could it get, guys? I mean, we have this so easy to understand maze. I don't need to label it or anything. I could just get up, walk away. Any one of you could sit down and totally take this the rest of the way, right? Okay. So that's planned out. We know that. Now, where does this wood come from? I don't know. Where does our wood come from? Okay, so we're not ready to solve that. So let's go ahead and let's remove this track for now. We'll put the stockpile in as a placeholder, but let's remove that for now, and we're going to deal with that. That's Future Explorer. That's Future Explorer's problem. It really sucks to be that guy. He's got quite the work cut out for him. So let's deal with the current stuff. And we know right now that that's great, that this is going to make whichever one I assigned it. And this one's going to make whichever one I assigned it. And this one's going to make whichever one I assigned it. But we're not making cages or beds right now. We don't care. So let's go ahead and remove 2 of these. Okay. We'll put the doors in and the stockpiles in, and we'll remind ourselves what was going on there. And so let's go ahead and dig that out. That's actually, let's go ahead and plan out the rest of this track here. So this is going to be our barrels. This middle one here is going to be our barrels. So we know we need it to come in from a direction and go out a direction. This is our nice big nifty trade whatever, which we know needs to also have a location for barrels, right? So let's make another barrel stockpile. Another pickup point, right? We're not dropping off barrels. We're not getting rid of barrels. So we know that we don't need to have a drop-off point. But this is an export point from the trade depot to the fort. We brought it in, and this is ours now. So we're going to drop that off. And actually, we're going to cancel all that and base it on this size. I know an upward ramp and a downward channel are the same thing. I only put them both there because it's a marker for me. Now, whichever side he gets to first, once he digs it, the other job is just going to disappear. So I only designate it so that as a placeholder for what I was doing. There we go. Now, the barrels from our wood shop will go in here, load on. This thing's going to carry on its way. It's going to stop here. It's going to get loaded with these barrels. Right? Does an upward ramp channel upward. Basically, Horf. Basically. Oh, you missed my response to the push carry. Okay, so you have a couple. So yes, an upward ramp is basically the same as a downward channel from the side above, right? If we look in the side view, we're digging along, and we want those to join right there. So if you channel right here, if you ramp right here, that's one job. Okay? That's one job. And he's going to make that into the ramp. Okay? So hope that answered your question. Now the types of designations that a minecart can get. Okay, so we have guide, right? And what guide is it's entirely dwarf powered. Guide is literally you're treating a dwarf like a pack animal, and you're strapping him up, and he's going to carry this massive minecart. And he can go up hills, he can go down hills. When it's going down hills, it's not going to accelerate. He's just going to hold it back and just keep it at the right pace. When he's going up hills, he can push it. And that, it allows him to take corners. It allows him to go, any track design you can come up with can be guided on. Right? And Horf, you can use pack animals. They're called dwarves. Okay? There's no reason to use anything but that. Everything else is for eating. So, get me off track here. So then we have push. Now what push is he takes his big old boot and he kicks the shit out of this thing and it just rolls, okay? So if you kick something that rolls, it flies across, if you kick a soccer ball, it rolls and rolls and rolls till it runs out of velocity. So he kicks it down the track, he just gives it a big old push with his leg, and it goes as far as it goes, and that's it. If he kicks it and it hits a hill, it's just going to roll right back down. Okay? So there's the downside of push. Push is the setting you use when you have power, because he only has to push it till it hits that first roller and can start to be taken over by your power. Ride. Okay, he gives it a push, hops in. It's meant so that you can have a laborer on the other end to unload it. I'm not sure what happens when a cart comes to a stop and the ride. I don't use the ride. I use guide or push only. I get a little confused, but I know ride allows them to like travel down with it really quickly. But as a form of like dwarven transportation. But it's really hard to control which dwarf is going to get in it, and so I just don't use it right now. People have used it. You can look on the forums. There's a lot of posts on people who are trying to use it to transport military or a lot of like a dwarven taxi ride. So, and that puts us back to guide. So Scion asked us, who needs tracks when you can make the dwarves outright carry it? Now, they can outright carry it. They will pick it up and they will just carry it. The problem is they're limited on speed. And once I power these, you'll see they can go so much faster. So I guide it in anticipation of powering it. I'm never going to just guide it the whole time. And when you load it down with a lot of weight, they carry it so slowly. So you can load this thing down, just fill it with platinum statues that weigh a ton, and they're going to guide it, and it's just going to go at the same rate that the dwarf walks. So I haven't seen any diminish in a guided rate over a walking pace based on weight. So I really think that that's the benefit. Guiding 25,000 threads worth of cloth versus carrying it, not a big deal. But if you have lead minecarts full of lead crafts, full to the brim, that is going to take forever to carry. And I think that's the benefit there. And if you're finding that the track is so far out of the way that it's faster to carry it, I kind of make you question who designed the track, because that seems like that would be your fault. I don't mean to call you out on whoever has that problem, but I'm not seeing. Scion says he's in no rush. I'm not seeing an advantage over building in a track. And if you're guiding it, the great thing about guiding, one of the benefits about guiding is you can guide it through a heavily trafficked area, and it's never in danger of hurting anybody. Now, when I automate these things, they are totally in danger of hurting people, which is why I put them in their own little isolated tunnels behind doors, so that we're not in danger of some dwarf going, I don't know, I like this little path I can follow, and then get nailed by some cart that I have just hauling ass. Okay. So where were we? We've picked up our barrels, both our homemade ones and our imported ones. Now, the other thing we needed, get this list here. The other thing we needed was our brewable plants. Now, we can put our brewable plants, from the trade depot perspective, we can put our brewable plants in the same stockpile that we put our barrels in. That's not a problem. It's a custom stockpile. Easy enough. Well, so Scion responded by saying, well, spending 2 in-game years on a track to go down 100 Z levels, and then it doesn't work, you're like, well, F it, I'll just have them carried up. Well, first of all, if it's not going to work, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to build it, that wasn't worth it. But if you can get it working, this is a long-term solution. So even though my forts generally tantrum spiral before I could really see the investment because I'm so focused on getting this automated, when you have a player like, say, Nagadal, who has had a fort last 20 years, all of a sudden 2 years is a small investment for the fact that now you have a hauler dwarf, lift it from here, place it in here, push it, okay, so it takes him like 3 seconds, whatever, it takes him like an in-game day to fill this minecart up and kick it. Goes all the way down. And you have your legendary smelter, who's literally picking up, smelting, dropping off. Never walking. He's literally just reaching to his right, picking it up, walking 1 square, smelting it, walking 1 square, putting it on a minecart, pushing it off, and off it goes. He now is having 2 squares of travel in a workday. 2 squares for each job task until he needs a break. And he needs a break every, let's say, 8 hours, either way. So he has an 8-hour workday, whether that's all spent commuting or that's spent smelting. So why not build this so that he gets the maximum number of tasks done in 1 day? Okay, so I don't know if that convinces you. If not, you're welcome. A lot of people only use mine carts for a few industries where they really see a benefit, and they don't use it for those 100 Z levels. Continuous. Alright, sorry. Sounds like his fork crashed too much due to CPU issues to really solve the issue. Okay. Something's broken here. Guide south when full, guide south in 14 days. Something's broken. Takes corpses and refuse. Why does it have an exclamation point? Set direction. Guide north when empty. Yes. Oh, guide east. I bumped that. Guide south. That's much better. Okay. I must have bumped that button. Okay. Guided. Boom. Beautiful. Okay. So. Picked up our barrels. I'm so off task here. Like 20 minutes. Never got this done. Now, here's where things get a little complicated in this embark because we have to pass through our aquifer. We don't have to just pass through it once. We have to pass through this thing twice. Once on the way up to pick up the shit, once on the way back down to start the track over. Okay. So let's plan this out. So we'll start from the top here. So okay. For now, we'll just make it a regular food stockpile. We're gonna have to go through and just make sure it's brewable plants in a little bit. Okay. Actually, and we're going to make it quite a bit bigger because Because of some